I think a lot of people secretly believe their life is going to change the moment they finally feel ready. Ready to post, ready to create, ready to start building something, ready to take themselves seriously. But honestly, I don't think that feeling ever fully comes. And that's something I had to learn the hard way. Because for a long time, I kept waiting for perfect timing, perfect ideas, perfect motivation, perfect confidence. I thought, once everything feels right, then I'll start. But the problem is, life almost never works like that. There's always something missing, something unfinished, something imperfect, and meanwhile, time keeps moving anyway. That's why I think overthinking destroys more potential than failure ever will. Because most people never even give themselves enough chances to fail. They stay stuck in preparation mode forever, watching other people grow, watching other people build communities, watching other people improve, while they keep waiting for some magical moment where fear disappears completely. But honestly, the people growing online usually aren't fearless. They just started before they felt fully ready. That's really the difference. And I realized this especially with content. There were so many videos I almost didn't upload. Because I kept thinking, what if nobody watches? What if people think it's bad? What if it flops? What if I'm not ready yet? But eventually, I realized waiting was hurting me more than uploading imperfect content ever could. Because every time you hesitate, somebody else is building momentum. And momentum matters so much online. One post can lead to new opportunities, new connections, new supporters, new income, new ideas. But none of those things happen if you never start. That's why I stopped obsessing over perfect timing. Because honestly, most successful people online are just people who stayed consistent long enough. Not necessarily the smartest, not necessarily the most talented, not necessarily the most confident, just consistent. And consistency is impossible if you constantly wait for motivation. Some days you're inspired, some days you're tired, some days you doubt yourself completely. But if you only create when everything feels perfect, you'll barely create anything at all. That's why I started focusing more on momentum instead of perfection. Because momentum changes your mindset. Once you start posting consistently, you stop treating every upload like life or death. You stop overthinking every little detail. You stop attaching your entire self-worth to numbers. And eventually, creating becomes normal. That's when growth usually starts happening. And honestly, I think social media tricks people into believing everyone else has everything figured out already. But most creators are learning while they build. Most businesses are figuring things out in real time. Most people online are improvising more than you realize. Nobody starts perfectly prepared. And even now, I still feel like I'm learning constantly, still improving, still experimenting, still trying new ideas. But I would have never gotten here if I kept waiting for perfect timing. That's why I genuinely believe action creates clarity. Not overthinking, not planning forever, not waiting another 6 months. Action. Because once you start moving, you learn faster, you adapt faster, you improve faster. And eventually, you realize the thing holding you back most wasn't lack of talent. It was hesitation. So honestly, if there's something you've been wanting to start, whether it's content, music, business, videos, building a community, stop waiting for the perfect moment, because the people winning online usually aren't the people who waited the longest. They're the people who started before they felt ready,